They say necessity is the mother of invention, and imagine manifesting a dream before there was the internet or even social media. In this special episode, we're going to be having a conversation, and a timely one at that, with brand strategist. He was intricately involved in the Crop Over Festival as well, Mr. Matthew Fewwture Ashby. His episode upcoming. This is One on One. I'm Mishran Robinson. Welcome to this edition of One on One. We're thick within the crop over season, and we're going to be having a conversation with one of the faces behind the festival, Matthew Fewwture Ashby. He's known as a brand strategist, but also, of course, as a music producer and as a media producer generally. Fewwture, welcome to this edition of One on One. We're so happy to have you on set.
Thanks for having me. Nice set.
Thank you. We love to do things differently here on One on One. And we see you positioning yourself. You have a podcast a lot of Barbadians are familiar with, known for the quality of production, but also the quality of interviews as well.
Yes.
Where Gems from Friends, the podcast, is concerned.
Yes,
as well.
yes. I'm happy that people are really taking it in. I was actually surprised with the reception, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this conversation. But before we dive into it, for the Barbadians watching the program this evening, where did the name Fewwture come from? I feel like Matthew Ashby is a pretty cool name.
Right.
But you're known as Fewwture, and that has an international brand feeling associated with it.
Well, hopefully. I try to make everything international based. But I got that name because people used to call me Few for short.
Right.
So it comes from Matthew.
Oh,
and
right.
In Barbados, we say few
Right,
and not
Matthew.
few. Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah.
So I didn't like Matt. It sounded more Caucasian.
Right,
So people would say few, right? So then I used to work with a band called Strategy.
Yeah.
They used to perform in the shipping on in Sunrise Gap. And TJ, she was the lead singer from that band. And I think we were traveling that particular season, and then we came back. And when she hit the stage,
Traveling through the region.
no, we went to
Internationally as well.
international, yeah. And then when we first came back to Barbados, and she hit the stage, I used to be the person that used to DJ in between the sets. So they would go on break and then come back, and then I would fill in the in-betweens. And she just kind of freestyle it. She was just singing something. I think she was saying she can turn it over to me, and she said Fewwture, because she's so accustomed to saying few, so she said Fewwture. And I think that a lot of people resonate with that because of when I was with the band, I used to produce, and my song was very futuristic. I was always about the next thing and being inventive and that kind of thing. So it didn't all fit together, and then the name just stuck like that. It was just like from a freestyle.
That's so interesting. But what I'm so curious to ask, so the concept of Fewwture is a concept that we never really arrive at. It is always happening, always futuristic, always the next big thing happening, like visionary that you are. So how do you stay grounded in the present while keeping your eyes focused on the future and the literal meaning of your name?
I will be very honest, it is a challenge, and it's still something that I battle with because I have to keep allow myself to stay in the present, because sometimes I will reach my goal and I will still not be satisfied because I'm always looking at the next post and the next thing, the next business, the next venture. And it can be a very frustrating.
Yeah, a little intense.
Yeah, so I had to get to a point where I don't want to miss my life trying to improve it all the time, So it's still something that I'm learning still. I'm getting a little better at it.
Right. So expand on this for me. You were traveling with the Strategy band. This is probably around circa 2005, 2006, or?
And a little earlier than that. It could have been 2004. Aging myself, but yeah, 2004. Because it was very, very young. No coming out to school and all that. So 2004, around there, 3-4 years.
So you were probably around 16, 17, 19.
A little older.
A little older.
Yeah,
so maybe 1920.
I had
in 2004.
Yeah. Let me stick to that. 1920.
Right. So, what was life like growing up for you? And certainly, you are not the same as you are this present day version of Fewwture is not Fewwture of times past. Sounds weird, but
It makes sense though.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like how you put it.
yeah,
Um, well, first of all, no, I'm not definitely not the same person. I have had to reinvent myself many, many, many times, and I think close people around me would have seen that and can attest to that. I came out in a very a rough area. I think my mom don't really like me talking about it like that,
yeah,
but it is what
absolutely,
it is.
yeah,
So I grew up in town, right? Baxter's Road, Chapman
yeah,
Street,
yeah,
and then I went to school at St. Leonard's, which so it was just like up the hill
yeah,
there, not far, and I was surrounded by a lot of elements that I shouldn't have been exposed to at a very young age. It was very intense. I mean, I saw different. I saw everything, right? I don't want to say it no, but I saw a lot. So it took me, and I didn't really know anything else. But then there was just something inside me that felt like it has to be more. I was, I had to go outside of myself, go outside of my reality. And I wasn't happy with where I was. And I had to literally like create a vision in my head and
yeah,
put myself in a position where I want to be, even though I don't even know what that could be because I have
yeah.
never experienced anything else,
Wow.
but I just wanted to recreate something other than my present reality.
And this is powerful for many reasons, but one of the prime reasons would be there was no social media around at the
Nope.
time. And social media helps a lot of young
There were no
people who maybe
internet.
no internet at
No,
the time,
no.
but you were using the power of manifestation,
Yeah.
imagining where you could be
Mm-hmm.
at the time. Why do you think you found that within yourself, even though your environment was like not testament to what your soul was pulling you toward?
I think about that a lot, and I could only say God.
Right. Yeah.
It has to be a higher being
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any other influences. So I would say that, God showed me what He has planned
Yeah.
and to stay the course.
Yeah.
And I just had to follow suit from there.
And what was the encouragement like within your home environment? You spoke of, like how life was at the time, you encouraging yourself and, guardians of, whatever was pulling you toward where you needed to be, pulling you toward the light, basically.
Yeah.
But, what was the encouragement like from other family members too?
Um, I would say that a lot of my family members wouldn't have really understood what I was thinking or what I was feeling in the moment. They're not as exposed to my world and like the things I'm into. So it was very hard to express that, and I guess as well, like
Yeah.
we have a foundation where it's very conventional, where it's academic.
Yeah.
It's lawyer and
Yeah.
bank manager or some insurance company, or to just see skills,
Definitely, yeah.
carpentry, plumber. So when you talk about um, film or media or entertainment and all these things, like they didn't really understood that. So then it pushed me to just kind of keep it a little quiet. And they probably thought that I was really, really quiet because I just can't communicate what was in my head because they wouldn't have understood. So support, I don't think that it was from a place that they didn't want to support. It's just that they just didn't have the tools to understand where I wanted to go. But when it comes to love and protection, that was definitely there, especially with my mom and my grandmother, because those are the two people that raised me.
So, primarily a matriarchal household, but a household well buttressed nonetheless. Your support system being there, your mom nurturing you, and
Yeah.
then her mom nurturing her to nurture you as well.
Yeah.
And you had this vision in your mind. What were you seeing at the time?
What was I seeing?
What were you seeing? Like, what was in your mind's eye?
Um,
Other than that abstract concept of seeing the future or seeing future.
well, I can't really recall exactly like how what I was seeing, but I definitely saw myself as part of creating something. Whether and I was really into music and movies and film and production, TV production, all them things. So I saw myself operating in that world. I didn't know what position I wanted to hold, but I know that I didn't really want to be in front of the camera. But so I wanted to do everything else. And yeah, and I think the most prominent thing that was in my head was involved in music in some way. But I always found myself um it was very weird because it was a position that I didn't know existed. So I didn't know how to title it, right? But as I got into it, I realized that it was a lot of managing, facilitating, and directing, and working closely with talent. Not just the equipment, but I found that I had a natural thing to just work with people and get the best out of them. And that's what I was seeing, and that's what I kind of fell into eventually.
And Future, you're being really, really modest here. You know, you are, the audience knows of this broad abstract concept of you as a production manager, as a brand strategist, but you're working with one of the biggest DJs in the world, Barbadian DJ Puffy.
Yes.
He's one of the artists that you're managing.
Yes.
You're also one of the founding members of Aura, the crop over band, as well.
Yeah.
So Future, as a young boy living in the Baxter's Road area, to the man that we see here before us as a well-respected man in the work that he does as well. So tell us about the differences between the boy from then and the man that we know now, who's also creating a hub for a number of entrepreneurs in Barbados.
The difference, the contrast. Well,
What you stand for and what you don't stand for. Absolute non-negotiables as well.
well, I stand for excellence.
Yeah.
I stand for like being the best that you can be. It's not necessarily you have to be the best in the area, but your best. You know,
That's important too.
That's what I
Yeah.
look for. So I don't really know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
But to talk about the person that I was before and back then, and then to say the things that is non-negotiable, I know what being back then feels like, and I don't want to go back there. And because I know what that feels like, I also know what other people there are going through. So I want to kind of provide and facilitate and help in areas and become the person that I wished I had back then to get me out of those situations. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is your response, and this is specific to you. So I think that does absolute justice.
Okay.
Which is why you have the Gems from Friends podcast.
Yes.
One of the most popular podcasts in Barbados and possibly the Caribbean region as well for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Why did you start Gems from Friends?
Why did I start it? To be honest, this idea dropped into me in 2019, and
So just before the pandemic.
just before pandemic, and it came to me in different ways. It came to me to just go around and just do it like a documentary style. I started it that way actually, and a lot of people don't know that they actually have 3 episodes.
Yeah, I had no idea. And I've watched so many
I have
episodes of
Richard
Gems from
Haynes and
Friends.
other people that
Okay.
and that people didn't really realize I did before.
Yeah.
But I was going around to their house
Okay.
and I was interviewing them and getting their story and stuff like that. But it was a lot. It was a lot. And then a lot of times I was doing it by myself.
Yeah.
So I had to set up. I had to set up lights, cameras, and I had to sit on a chair and actually do the interview, everything. So obviously it wasn't sustainable. So I put it on pause, and it just kept nagging me all the time. You know, it was frustrating. Like I felt like I wanted to let go of the idea, but it just keep coming back. So then it came to me, you know what? Like maybe you should do it like this type of format. Just set up your studio, have it where everything is already there, and just do it podcast style. And I try to remove as much friction as I can,
Yeah.
so that it can be more consistent and sustainable.
Are you satisfied with where Gems from Friends is now?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's surprising.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I just wanted a platform for people to come and just share their stories and for other people to be able to learn.
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to hear our own voices and see people that look like us.
Yeah.
You know, you see this person in the supermarket and you like, it relates to you a little differently than you having to hear a North American accent or whatever, you know. And then you get people get to realize that a lot of the challenges that you hear these people going through, it is not unique. It's not a you problem. Like it's a business problem or it's a people problem. And then it takes like a weight off of you
Yeah.
when you could hear these stories and realize that, you know, like everyone's going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And then because we could have a discussion together about the challenges, we are then providing a place where we can have more solutions for that said problem.
So important work, Fewwture, the importance of having those conversations and communicating.
Yeah,
That's,
definitely.
That's really what it is at the nutshell. The power of communication. Really important work. Not everybody likes to do it, but you decided to take on the challenge as editor, producer, interviewer. You're a wonderful interviewer as well.
Thank
A
you.
lot of people would
Thank
say that.
you.
It's like, wait, Matthew's behind the camera, but he's also the interviewer as well.
Yeah, yeah. And that's also interesting too, because, you know, sometimes I think that is very important for us as creatives to explore beyond the boundary of what you think you are good at. Because I never would have thought that that is something that I'd be good at. I just always saw myself as technical. I'm a strategist, but to come sit down and have a conversation with someone and interview them and pull certain things out of them, that was not something in my head that I ever thought I'd be good at. So I would advise anybody, step out the boundaries and try things, because you never know. So I'm surprised at what Gems from Friends is doing and very grateful of it as well.
Matthew, we're going to pause for a short commercial break, but when we come back, we want to kind of tap into your genius as a strategist. We want to talk about the philosophy as entrepreneurship as well. And we'll pause for this short commercial break, but we'll be right back with more gems from our friend, Matthew Fewwture Ashby. Please stay with us.
In Barbados, a Precious Touch is more than a name. It's a lifeline of joy. Since 2007, the Precious Touch Foundation has been turning the dreams of children aged 2 to 16 into reality. For those facing life-threatening medical conditions, we provide the one thing medicine can't always reach: the magic of a wish. Whether it's a wish to go on a dream cruise, a wish to have a life-changing tech device, or a wish to be a pilot for a day, we make it happen. With 120 wishes granted to date, our team of 60 volunteers works closely with families and doctors to ensure every experience is safe, personalized, and unforgettable. Our mission doesn't stop at the wish. Through hospital visits and community outreach, our board and volunteers stand by these families during their toughest moments. You can be the spark that lights up a child's world. To donate, volunteer, or refer a child, call us at 230-3402 or visit PreciousTouchFoundation.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Precious Touch Foundation INC. Help us reach the next 120 children. Precious Touch Foundation, bringing hope one wish at a time.
I'm so happy that you've decided to stay with us. Welcome back. And we are having an exciting conversation about the future and with the future with Matthew Fewwture Ashby. Fewwture, we want to touch on the important work that you're doing, empowering an entire generation with your podcast and with your work and with your drive and ambition, really and truly. And earlier we were talking about the fact that you said there was nothing really to lose when you considered moving ahead with this idea. You may not have had the resources at the time, but you had the boldness
Yeah.
and the courage to move ahead with what you saw in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I don't regret anything that I went through. I don't regret where it came from.
Even the bad, you don't
Yeah,
regret it.
I don't regret the bad because it's all about perspective, and you can learn from the bad,
Yeah.
right? So what I pull from that from my past is I had the audacity, and I will go out there and I will risk things because I don't have anything to lose per se, because I know where it came from. I know what that life is like. So what's the worst?
Yeah.
When you really think about it, like what is the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we struggle more in our imagination. Because if you sit down and you want to launch something and you think about it, like what is going to happen if you fail?
Yeah.
It's not going to be it's not going to be as
Yeah.
bad as you making it out to be. Like let me put everything down on paper. So I think me coming from where I came from, understanding like, okay, that's the worst. It's not going to get worse than that. I need is this or nothing. You know? So that's what gave me the drive and the experience.
Yeah. Considering what you just said, what do you think gave you the audacity to dream, the audacity to hope, even while life was looking like
Because
kind of
that's the
shaky
only
at the time?
currency he had.
Wow.
When you're lacking resources and you're lacking connections and all these things, the only currency you have are your dreams.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
You could imagine from there when you're a kid and you don't have any toys, and I had to go outside and I had to pick leaves and put it in the gutter, and we called it boat racing.
Yeah.
Like I had to imagine that because we didn't have anything else to do. So yeah,
You actually did that though,
of course.
race leaves with boats.
Yes. Me and my neighbor, we outside and we'd be racing leaves, going down Bax's Road from Chapman Street to Bax's Road into that gutter.
But I had days when money could go.
Exactly.
You know, we always say that necessity is the mother of invention, though. So it makes sense where you would have an inventive nature, which then turned to being a visionary, and also turned to being a leader and a resource for other young people to pull from as well. We wanted to touch a little on the philosophy of entrepreneurship in Barbados in this particular segment. Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur? You're a brand strategist, you're a media producer. But if you consider yourself an entrepreneur, what is an entrepreneur to you?
Well, I know there's a lot of titles, and sometimes they could all have different meanings as time go on. But being an entrepreneur for me right now in this moment is to be able to create something from nothing, provide opportunities, and to solve a problem, pretty much, and be able to put it in a marketplace and create a living for not just you but for others. That's how I see it, and yes, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you are an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So you said you were with the strategy band?
Yeah.
And you were also with the Dynasty Inc. as well?
Yeah. Dynasty Inc. was something that I created, me and two business partners, and that was we were doing parties under that brand. Forgot about that.
How do you project enough, like internal security? Having that internal security, even though, all of these other things are happening, like with strategy and even with Dynasty and even with Gems of Friends, how do you remain secure, even with global shocks happening or what's happening in the Barbadian market?
Financially?
Yes. How do you have that security to know, that sure optimism then? I'm just going to press ahead with this, even though things financially might be looking a little iffy.
Oh, you mean to have the confidence to go forward?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, it goes back to not really having anything to lose, and then it goes back to like I have to push. Something has to work,
Yeah.
right? I have to push through and make something work, and I have to risk. Because if I don't risk anything, so I think the nature of me is that people will say I'm a little bit. You have to be a little mental. You can't be sane.
Right.
Because when you're sane, too much logic comes into the situation, and then you don't do anything. You stay stuck because you want to be safe, and that's fine because your brain is designed to keep you safe.
Yeah.
But for me, I have to push past that, and you have to break the brain a little bit and be called mental, because if you want to change anything in your reality, you have to change the norm of your thoughts and break out of that. And if it's anybody that created anything that we are benefiting from now, think about it. There all had to be some kind of like mental.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you think about like the power of abundance, your world and your normal is where the scarcity mindset is.
Correct. Correct.
For Usain Bolt to run what he ran back in the day,
Yeah.
it was never done before.
Correct.
Even for, countries coming from former colonized societies, it's like, well, slavery is the norm and this is what it is. And you're hearing people of color talking about being a free man. It's like, what are you talking about? That's not the norm now.
Exactly.
You're less than
Exactly.
human at this
Exactly.
point.
So you gotta go places
Yeah.
that have never been gone before.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we could be inventive and create any kind of benefit for others and improve your life.
Yeah.
By actually going and pushing against the norm.
Yeah. So we spoke about Strategy, the band, Dynasty Incorporated, and then also Fewwture Films. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit about Fewwture Films, because I know that's near and dear to your heart and purpose as well.
Correct. So Fewwture Films, well, first of all, I wanted to be a director and I wanted to be in film first and foremost. When I dropped out of school, I finished school at 15. I was like, I don't want to go back. And I told my mom I wanted to go to New York Film Academy. I still have the magazine up to this day. It's being held together. But tuition was very high, and obviously we couldn't afford it. So that was something that I had to like kind of put aside.
Yeah.
And then I fall into music, which was the next best thing. It was more accessible for me. So when I got to a place where I could then send myself to learn more and to explore more and to afford equipment and that kind of thing, I said, well, okay, I'm going to start my media company, and that's pretty much what that is, Fewwture Films. So out of that is where I would then build all the other ideas I have for shows, such as the podcasts and other things and commercials and stuff like that I do. Yeah.
What do you want people to feel from your work? In terms of whatever Fewwture Films produces, what should people feel? I know you spoke of excellence earlier.
Yeah. I wanted to feel a number of things. I want them to feel most of all that anything is possible. That what you are living now, it doesn't have to be what you're living tomorrow. I want them to feel the possibilities, and I want them to feel hope, and I want them to be able to explore themselves in every way possible and be more. I want people to understand that they are not just one dimensional, and that there's many dimensions to you. And the only way we can live and go forward is if we tap into those different dimensions.
I know you've been sitting for a while, but considering what you just said, I want to put you in the hot seat a little.
It
There's
can
a
get
hot seat
hot
already. So what I wanted to ask, do you feel as if our local artists, you've recently made a post on Instagram that kind of went viral locally about, how artists should position themselves for an international audience.
Yeah.
Do you feel as if our artists are doing that? No, because obviously you're offering this information right now.
No. I mean, some of them might disagree with what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but I do get it, and I do understand. I want them to know that I know that when you are in an environment and you want to get the attention, you want to get the work, you want to get like what's happening now, you want to break ground now, that you have to do what you got to do. I understand that. I came from that. However, I believe in planting a seed that can bear many fruits. And I don't know if we are doing that. I don't know if we are making legacy work. We are making a lot of art that is just going to last for now.
Yeah.
What I will call fast food or microwave food, right? And that's not this. I think that there's space for all different types of art, but I just want artists to just really think about leaving legacy behind and be and let your art be able to be resonated beyond the shores. That's it.
Is that possible by only operating within a local or domestic silo? Or should artists look as much as possible to ensure they have regional partnerships, international partnerships?
Definitely. Yeah, partnerships is key.
Helping them to keep re-inspired as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And in that post, one of these slides will have stated that it's important to, connect with people outside the genre, connect with people outside the island. The world is big. And I mean, like when I started to travel, I didn't realize how small we really are. I'm like, listen, we really gotta like start thinking differently, There's a big world out there, and we do have something to offer.
Barbadians do have something to
Barbadians
offer the
do
big
have,
world out
of
there.
course, and they're looking for it. That's one of the reasons why I created post, because we have it, but I don't know if we understand the power that we have, and I just want the artists to just put a little bit more into the thought process and to cater for the international market, get into different countries as well.
You worked with Justin Bieber as well, right?
I kind of took care of Justin Bieber when he was here. He was very young though. How that happened was that Dynasty Inc. We used to do a party.
Yeah.
Party. It's called Models and Bottles.
Yes. That was so popular back in the day.
Right. So we started Models and Bottles, and Justin Bieber was here on vacation.
Yeah.
And a friend called, and he said that Justin wanted to link up, and so he came to the party, and we just became like really really cool from there. And his road manager Kenny Hamilton, we still talk up to now. So that was the extent of it, really. I was just like taking him around the island and get him in to see different things. Yeah.
So more so, operating as a front runner while he was here in terms of managing his trip and that type of thing. Why is it that DJ Puffy would remain one of the main artists that you're managing, even though you do offer artist management? And Puffy's a big deal. I know that's a lot under, under the portfolio
so,
as well.
Azali, so he takes up a lot, right? So me working with Puffy was not something that, it wasn't a strategy that I created. It was just something that happened, right? I saw a young boy that had like this star in his eyes.
This is like Puffy and Slam days.
Before Slam days.
Like Comamere days.
Comamere days.
Okay.
Right? And I saw something, or an aura that he had, no pun intended, but an aura that he had.
Right.
And I was like, do we have time to get into that?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Right. So how that happened was, I was doing a same production for Dynasty, and we needed models to model for this party, because we had this runway going through the dance floor, and we wanted this whole rip the runway style thing. And I went online and I saw that Puffy was Andrew at the time. I saw that he had placed in a pageant, Comamere pageant, and I reached out to him on Facebook, and he responded, and he came and he did the gig. And this was modeling. This is not DJing. Anyway, but his attitude and the way how he worked with me, and like everything about what he did was so professional and well put together, and I was impressed, right? And then from there, I saw him a second time, and when I saw him the second time, he was actually DJing for can't remember the name of the group, but it was a youth group, and I realized it was the same person, and it was like, this person is very talented. What I was hearing, it was something that he was doing that was very different, interesting. When I realized it was the same person, and it's like, look, I got this night, etc. And he came through, and then all was history from there. We gel. He listened. He was very coachable,
Yeah.
and all of those things, and magic just happened from there.
Yeah.
However, I then wanted to pass this magic on to other people
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but it wasn't quite working out the same way. And it's not taking anything away from the others, but it just wasn't the right time
Yeah.
or the right fit, or maybe it was a fit but just for a particular time, right? And so then it got to a point where Puffy got bigger and bigger. Like every couple of years, it's like he's just growing into a whole different artist, becoming more known, more requested than ever. And it's so busy with him now. It's taking me away from the other talent. So I had to make a decision to say, you know what, I may go close some doors and concentrate on this one. So that's a very long answer to your question.
Yeah, perfect. Which is perfect for the next segment, where we're going to focus on the importance of being meek and teachable, leadership, and we're going to touch a little bit on the orange economy and content creation as well. But we'll be right back with more of this one-on-one with Fewwture Ashby. Please stay with us.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Danielle Reed-Melillo and I am a general physician. Today we're going to have a casual talk about STDs and STIs. An STD is a sexually transmitted disease and an STI is a sexually transmitted infection. An STI is an infection which is caused by having sexual contact with an infected person. When symptoms develop, it is then termed an STD. All STDs are treatable, but only some are curable. Everyone that has sexual intercourse is at risk. Get your partner or partners tested before every new sexual relationship and use protection.
Welcome back to this edition of One-on-One. We're having a conversation with brand strategist, entrepreneur, and media producer Fewwture Ashby. Matthew, we promised our viewers to touch a little bit about the importance of being meek and teachable, not thinking that you know it all. And you were mentioning while working with a young Andre, DJ Puffy back in the day, he was teachable, which was one of the elements that stood out to you
For
at
sure.
the time.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's all about the relationship, right, that you can have with people. And I think because I knew what I wanted his brand to look and feel like, and because we want to be inventive and create something that people never saw here, it needed to be with someone that trusts and someone that is coachable and not coming into the situation where, well, I know it all, this is what I want to do, Nah, he listened and he had trust my process. So I think that was part of it.
So Puffy had you as a mentor, and there are a number of other young artists and entrepreneurs that also have you as a mentor.
Yeah.
Who were some of the mentors that you looked up to when you were much younger? Who did you have?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Or even if you don't name them, what were some of the characteristics that they had?
Well, why I will say is that one of the key people that helped me in certain turning points in my life, Chris Allman.
Okay.
Chris Allman is a music producer from a studio called Slam City. He is who really brought me into the studio life and the music life, and he taught me certain things, and just his whole presence and how he treated people and his attitude and everything. And he was like a male figure in my life that was very different to what I was accustomed to or who I grew up around.
Yeah.
So yeah, he played a very important role there. Kurt Brown.
Yeah.
Kurt Brown was the band owner for Strategy.
Yeah.
And he used to manage the nights, Thursday nights. He also gave me a chance. So I have to definitely pay tribute to them for sure, for giving me the opportunity and mentoring me. Kurt Brown was one of the first people that I saw that brought structure to a creative industry. When I saw how particular he was and how things had to be, he used to walk around with a clipboard. You know what I mean? He was also a singer, a creative. He's recording at night, and during the day he got a clipboard. So that is what kind of teach me about the structure and not just like being a creative and just going on vibes and feeling and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's something interesting that you just mentioned, though. You know, Kurt Brown bringing the structure, but then also the element of Chris Allman in his characteristic of knowing how to treat people.
Yeah.
This business that you're in, be it business, hard business, or media, is all about relationships. And you mentioned how Chris made people feel.
Yeah.
Can you describe that?
Well, Chris was very respectful to others. In this industry, as you know, is filled with a lot of ego. And Chris could have easily said, well, I'm Chris Allman, da, 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 da. He had hits on the radio, and he had compilation CDs that were banging, and he was the go-to person in that era and that time. And he still had a moment to reach out to me, and he heard something that I did, and he was like, you have potential. And he didn't have to call me in and train me how to use anything in his space, you know, but he did. And when I saw how he would speak to the artists and get them to open up and get them to perform at their best, that showed me a lot.
You said something interesting there just now again, and you say a lot of interesting things, yeah? But you said he didn't have an ego. Why is it important to sometimes not have an ego, even though confidence is important in this industry?
Because what do you do with ego when it comes, like, what does it do? Like, it doesn't, what is the exchange? I don't see why you should have ego. It's not, I understand confidence and knowing who you are and remembering who you are and all these things, but having an ego just puts something in your room that doesn't belong there. And it doesn't create anything. It just creates friction that is unnecessary.
Speaking of friction, when you're at the top, it becomes harder when you make a mistake publicly.
Yes.
In the realms of social media. Within all the mess that could be online, how do you, what's your advice for any young influencer watching the program, any young artist or media professional who may have made a public mistake within the social media realm and is trying to, you know, make a comeback from that mistake? And we see it happen all the time.
Humility. And just remember that you're human.
Yeah.
And remind your followers that you are human and that you will make mistakes. Having accountability and owning up to that. And that is why it's also important to not have an ego, because if you have an ego and then you make that mistake, then you fall much harder, and the recovery is going to be slower. But if you have humility and you take accountability for your actions and you just own up for the process, then it doesn't feel as daunting or hard to do.
Does it ever feel like intense pressure for you?
To do what? As
being in the public's eye, having to, this is Matthew Fewwture. This is who we see online. This is the CEO of Gems from Friends.
Right.
This is who we look up to. Do you ever feel like that pressure that way, or how do you balance that?
I don't really feel weight.
Okay.
I don't feel weight because, again, I'm human and I'm trying to say everybody else. I don't see myself bigger or higher than anybody else. I think we're just all in this existence together.
Right.
And we just try to figure this out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't have any pressure at all. People are just people at the end of the day, right? Yes, I feel pressure sometimes from myself, because I'm hard on myself, because I want to be good at this, I want to be good at that, I want to succeed, I want to be able to put food on the table, I want to be able to take care of my children.
Yeah.
That's where that pressure comes from,
Yeah.
but not necessarily from people itself.
You just say you want to be good at this and you want to be good at that. You're multi-hyphenate. You do
Yeah.
many things.
Yeah, I have many interests.
Right. But we were also having a conversation about the importance of specialty and specializing in specific
Yes.
things. But it's almost, you know, with how super talented you are, it's almost as if you specialize in all of these
It's
things.
a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse.
Right.
Definitely, it's something, again, I'm still growing to understand it, but our environment also plays a role in that,
Yeah.
because of where we are from. We often find ourselves having to play multiple roles to create different revenue streams, or to lessen down the expenses.
Yeah.
So
for
we
sure,
then have
for
to
sure.
do many other
Yeah.
things, right? So there's that. And then I'm a person that I keep having ideas. I have this idea, I have that idea, and I'm getting to a point where I have to listen, Matthew. You gotta like just stop. So I'm gonna draw an analogy now.
Yeah.
So I moved into a new apartment recently.
Congrats on that.
Thank you. Right? And this apartment have so many doors, and all the keys look the same.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm always struggling to unlock a door
find out which
because
key.
I gotta figure out
Yeah.
which is which. So in my mind, I either have to like put little labels or stickers and some color code it in some way.
Right.
But then also, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know what? Let me put down some of these keys. Let me create less options and just use one door.
Yeah.
So I just have one key, one door, and that remove all the friction and the fact of me trying to figure that out. Just create less friction in your life.
Yeah.
Have one key, one door, and you know that is the door you're going through. So I'm now applying that to my life. Whereas you can have other doors eventually, but master that one first.
That's beautiful. And it's a perfect pivot to this follow-up question that I have. Not the importance of not doing everything on your own.
Yeah.
Typically when a person starts out in business, they're accountant, marketing, doing everything themselves. But you're saying the creative process is even more beautiful when we collaborate as opposed to competing, which we
Definitely.
think we must do.
Yeah. I like blue sea thinking. And what that is,
Blue sea thinking.
yeah. Blue sea strategy.
Okay.
There's blue sea and then there's red sea.
Yeah.
So red sea is where everybody competing.
Yeah.
And you go into a market where it's saturated and all that. I love the blue sea, where I love to go to that part where there's nobody doing that. There's nothing doing that.
Yeah.
I started a podcast in Barbados. Nobody was really doing podcasts at that level.
Yeah.
So I want to come into markets where it's non-existent, where that
Where
is
it
not
isn't
happening.
saturated, yeah.
Yeah. And that is my way of thinking about it. And then when I then invent that thing there, then I could bring more people involved and, that kind of thing, populate it.
Yeah. Speaking of your creativity and having a presence in markets that aren't saturated, you have been operating as a creative in terms of giving a gift of children to this world. And we've
Yes.
just celebrated Father's Day back in June.
Yeah.
How has being a father changed you
A
for
lot.
the good? Yeah.
A lot. When I first became a father, it is a feeling that you can't put into words, and it's a feeling that you can never feel without having that child.
Yeah.
Right? When I realized the power, when you have to be responsible for this delicate, vulnerable being that you brought in,
Yeah.
it changes you. It also made me softer in a sense, because I felt a love that I never felt before. So, men don't usually like to show a soft part because of the toxic traits that we were taught.
Yeah.
You know, men can this and that,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
But they can be.
Yeah,
And
of
it's
course,
okay.
of
Yeah.
course, yeah, of course. It's a human. You're a human being, right?
yeah.
And you're missing out on so much essence in life
Yeah.
when you refuse that or repel against those emotions.
Yeah.
Because when my son came, the feeling that I had, it was like, I was like, whoa, there's nothing I could beat that now. You know, so then it gave me strength, and it gave me a responsibility, and it gave my life more meaning. Everything just other things started to feel like it was not really that important, but then like the other things became important, and that is how it changed for me.
Growing up, you had a matriarchal presence in your life, but with the birth of your son, it sounds as if you're going to ensure that he has the constant
Definitely.
presence of
Definitely,
you in his life.
that's
And that's important.
non-negotiable.
Yeah. What legacy would you like to leave behind for your son and your other children as well?
I think that's a very good question. I I often kind of think about this a lot, where you know some people leave like a trust fund or like wealth and that kind of thing, and I would still love to do that. I'm still working towards that, but most of all, I want to leave them experiences. I want to leave them the power of thinking for themselves. I want them to also be able to submit to a higher being, to God as well. So the legacy is not like something that you will probably accustomed hearing per se. It just that same thing that I had, where I was able to imagine and create a new reality, and I still keep reinventing. I want them to know that that is something that they have access to in their own way. I don't want to box it in. I don't want that they think, oh well, my dad did this, so that means that I have to stay in this role. So I don't imprint anything on them, because I think that I will be robbing them from what else they can actually create, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does actually. Do you feel as if you are purpose aligned right now?
Getting there.
You get in there.
It changes though. It changes a lot. But I feel like it's getting I feel like it's one purpose, but many missions that goes to the same North Star.
Yeah. Many missions.
Many missions.
But one purpose.
One purpose.
What do you think your one purpose is?
To put it into words, I think we're all here to create.
Everybody was here to
Yeah,
create, in your opinion.
Yeah. Of course, we were made in God's image, and God is a creator, so we're here to do that.
Yeah.
Whether you're creating a big business or whether you're creating a home,
Yeah.
you know, we got to create something.
Yeah.
So, my purpose is just to be an example, to facilitate in whatever way I can, to help and to serve.
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing is to serve, to serve others, and especially in this space. Not to stretch this out too long,
Yeah.
but my mom just gave me a report card that I had from my old school, right?
Being the St. Leonard's Boys
St.
School.
Leonard's, yeah.
Yeah.
It was awful,
Right.
very bad. Even everything that was being written about me from the headmaster and the teacher, they would never believe if they saw who it is, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying all this to say that there's a structure that we have to start thinking outside of, right? There's a system that we have to understand, that there's more to this academics. There's more to just knowing math and social studies and English and the traditional school work, right? And understand that when you just make that the hierarchy or the achievement, you're robbing the future. You're robbing other people from achieving and creating greater things. And it is broader than that.
Yeah. Because creativity is literally intelligence and genius having fun.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew, I enjoyed this conversation immensely. It was so good to have you on
Thanks
set.
for
So
having
many experiences that you've tried to condense in the hour that we've had. But this was worth it in terms of you being our friend on set and dropping all of these gems.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it
You're
was
very
wonderful.
good too.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you as
I'm
well. I'm
happy
wishing
to
you
share my story with you.
absolutely. Wishing you all the best with the podcast Gems from Friends and the suite of abundance that we hope will come your way.
Thank you. I received that.
You're welcome. We've come to the end of another one-on-one. We've just had a wonderful conversation with brand strategist, creative director, and entrepreneur, Mr. Matthew Fewwture Ashby. On behalf of my producer, until next time, I'm Miss Ron Robinson.